Our tale begins in the grand city of Baldur's Gate, located along the Sword Coast. For the past several days, the talk of the streets and taverns has all been about the so-called death curse, a wasting disease afflicting everyone who's ever been raised from the dead. Victims grow thinner and weaker each day, slowly but steadily sliding toward the death they once denied. When they finally succumb, they can't be raised, and neither can anyone else, regardless of whether they've received the miracle in the past or not. Temples and scholars of divine magic are at a loss to explain a curse that has affected the entire region and possibly the entire world. It is here where our adventure begins, as a wealthy individual who is succumbing from the death curse requests any and all able bodies to go forth and explore the jungles of Chult. On this day, we see 3 individuals arrive at the manor in which Sindra Sylvain resides in. The first being Oren, a barbarian who is yearning to explore the world and find himself in all this. The second being Sylvia, a tiefling druid who wants to restore the balance of the world. And the third person, Gelebron, an eldritch knight who wants something greater in life. These 3 individuals came to Sindra Sylvain in order to accept the job. They aren't really told too much other than this death curse is emanating out from the jungles of Chult by a so-called soulmonger. No one knows what resides deep within the jungles of Chult, but they were given a map. This map provided excellent detail on the surrounding land of Chult, but of course, it was up to them to explore the interior. The party readied themselves for the long journey ahead, but this journey was cut far shorter as Sindra Sylvain teleported them to the very docks of Port Nyanzaru, the last bastion of civilization left in Chult. The party wished to head out into the jungles as quickly as they could, but the first roadblock of many lied before them. While they were eager to go, they realized they needed gold to go out into the jungles. They needed food, water, bug repellent, and even charters of exploration. The charters were doled out by the controlling military occupation of the Flaming Fist. With this in hand, people were allowed the privilege to go out into the jungles, and should they return, half of whatever they acquired out into the jungles would be handed over. To stack on even more of the money that they required, they needed to hire a guide. They needed someone who knew how to navigate the jungles, and this would cost quite a lot of money. The party conjured up many schemes on how to acquire this much gold in a short amount of time, and they realized that one of the best ways to acquire this was to participate in the arena. So they signed up for a match. But there was a bit of an issue. They signed up for a 3 versus 3 bout. But when the time came, Oren was missing. You see, Oren met a Tabaxi minstrel named Rotten Fish. Rotten Fish promised that if he was given but 1 gold, he would return it tenfold the next day. Rotten Fish was given this gold and meandered about the city, and Oren was not satisfied with this. He began to look around the city for this Tabaxi. Now, with a name like Rotten Fish, Oren figured that the only real place this person would be is the dumps. So Oren arrived to the dump by himself, and it's there where he saw it. He saw a humanoid hand with a ring sticking out of a pile of filth. Oren, being the adventurous person that he was, marched out into the waist-high pile of filth and muck, and eventually made his way there. As soon as he acquired this ring, he was ambushed. He was set upon by an Otug, a filth monster that devours anything in its sight. Oren tried to fight back, but he was clearly outmatched. In the blink of an eye, he was brought down and devoured, and the party would never know of his true fate. Gelabron and Sylvia now were missing a partner in the arena fight, and that is where Selida comes in. Selida is a guide in Port Nyanzaru who offered up her services for their gold. The party at first refused her, but she made a deal. If she would participate in the arena battle, the party would have to take her out into the jungles of Chult. With Oren nowhere to be found, the party agreed. Selida joined Gelabron and Sylvia into the arena, where they fought and won. Now armed with a plethora of gold and a guide to take them out into the jungles, all that was left was acquiring the license. Along the way to Fort Balarian, the home of the Flaming Fist in Chult, the party stumbled across a paladin who had an interesting story to tell. For you see, this paladin, Zoltan, who has sworn an oath of devotion to Torm, happened to be in the old city overlooking the dumps when he saw a man get swallowed whole. Zoltan was also an adventurer who was brought here by Sindra Sylvain, and it's there they discovered they were not truly special. There must be dozens, maybe even hundreds of other adventurers who were being sent out into the jungles of Chult to look for the Soulmonger. These three new companions realized that this was going to be dangerous. They were going to be in for the fight of their lives. But it was something that needed to be done. Gelabron, Sylvia, and Zoltan now made their way over to Fort Balarian, acquired the license to explore, returned, and had a grand old time. The next 10-day was spent in Port Nyanzaru, making friends and foes along the way. One of these friends, a half-orc priest named Undril Silvertusk, explained to the party that she was in need of help. She was instructed with bringing missives to Camp Vengeance, and was under the impression that she would be able to hire a horse and simply make her way down a road. That is simply not an option in the jungles of Chult. She would need to ride along a canoe down the river. So the party gladly accepted her into their ranks and made their way down. What awaited Sylvia, Gelabron, Zoltan, Selida, and Undril in the jungles of Chult? Well, that is a story for another day.